Hi, welcome Raunchy Reality Recaps. Now we're going over Justine and Michael from Life After Lockup. Now we joined them and they're getting ready to go to a doula. And then Michael asks if it's a male or female. And of course she says female. But come on, Michael, where you got to get that insecurity from? The same thing with Sean and not wanting Sarah to get breast augmentation because other men would look at her. The insecurities are outrageous. It doesn't matter if that's the best thing to make the person feel better about themselves or it makes them feel better about giving birth. It doesn't matter as long as my ego stays intact. It's just very surprising with these men in this show, and some women too. It's just crazy. So anyways, they're talking and Justine explains that she wasn't able to afford it or wasn't able to get everything she wanted with her past birth, so she feels like she was robbed of the experience. And then they go ahead and get in the car, get ready, and this is funny because we all have been talking about how their outfits that they have, the matching like bright orange one with the reflectors, everybody says that they look like crossing guards. I mean, I thought they were the construction workers that hold the stop sign and slow signs, but even Michael says, we look like construction workers. So maybe they finally figured it out. Or maybe WeTV heard everything everybody was saying and made them go back and edit in a little voiceover, because we didn't see him actually saying it, but we saw, a voice in the car, you know what I mean? So, maybe not. Anyways, they end up getting in the car and they're talking about their cute little outfits and how they should wear matching outfits with the baby, just the three of us. And I do feel sorry for the kids at this point, even Michael's kids, Michael and Justine's, about how I hope they try to get matching outfits for everybody, at least to try to make them feel better, at least for a family picture, or just ask them if they want a matching outfit so they don't feel left out, because teens, they might not want it. So hopefully they don't try to make the kids feel left out, which I saw a lot in the groups that I look up, that everybody was concerned is if this would make those kids feel, left out, because they're already talking about the matching little outfits, the three of us. And a lot of that happens with a lot of blended families sometimes, is when the two blended families come together and the parents make a biological child, and between the two of them, that the other children kind of feel left out. And I hope that doesn't happen for these kids, because they seem like really good kids. Now, they end up going to the doula, and this lady, I feel sorry for this lady. I already do. And I'll tell you why. It's because as soon as they get in there, they ask a little question. She explains, what she does, the assisting during birth, during, after, before, all that. And then Michael asked her, if she has like a range to go, that she travels. Like, some people, in the medical field, they travel up to 100 miles or 200 miles, but, coming back to their house at the end of the day. He was straight up asking like different states, which I don't know how much Michael thinks he's making, but I don't think it's enough to hire a doula to come fly to your state and fly back every few weeks or whatever. So I don't think he was quite understanding that. But this is where I'm getting to the point. He was asking about if she go to a different state and says, we might be trying to move near the Midwest South, and we'll need a doula. He was just explaining that he's moving to the Midwest South, and Justine kind of gets this. You just see her face just get this like, crap eating look. I can't say the real word, or the bad word, but poop eating look on her face. Like, what did you just say? And that's when she's like, you just said Midwest South. Can you pick a place? And basically, they get in this argument about Michael is basically just picking anywhere to live. He changes his mind constantly. He said he wants to move here, and then she'll look up that place and see what all they have, see if it works for him, and then he'll decide to change his mind, which I would get upset with too, because even like on vacations, like you tell me we're going to go somewhere for a vacation. Okay, let me look up, let me spend all this time on the internet, on my phone, checking the location out, making sure it's good for the family, make sure I have all we need, making sure the price is right. And then you're like, oh, well, let's do this instead. You know how much that, like, it's not fun doing that. Like, it might be fun for the first 30 minutes, but after a few hours of trying to search for a good place, it gets annoying. I can only imagine trying to search for a place to move. And she's sitting there checking out the schools, making sure everything's good for her family, and he's just up and, oh, well, never mind, let's go here. And basically, they were getting an argument in the middle of this appointment with this lady, this doula, right in front of her, and I really felt bad for it. I would have just been like, I'm gonna let y'all talk this out, and I'm gonna go wait in here. Y'all let me know when you're done, and if your appointment runs over, I'll just charge for another one, because so I would have walked out if I was that lady. I never argue as a couple in front of a stranger that's just trying to do her job. I hate that. Trust me, I work customer service, so you wouldn't believe the arguments people would have in front of complete strangers. Anyways, so she ends up getting mad about it, and they have a little argument. They end up leaving, and the next scene, they go into the house with the kids. And when they go in, Michael ends up bending down while all the kids on the couch are trying to give him a hug. And then the middle child, I think he is, ends up pushing Michael off with his foot when he bent down to pick him up, because I guess he didn't want to hug. And that's when Justine's like, why did you do that? He was just trying to give you a hug. And her son's like, why am I the always one that gets in trouble? Which, I mean, come on, Justine. You may love this dude and everything, and you may, be great with him, want a hug from him, but dude, your child, come on, that's not his daddy. That's not somebody he's known forever. That's not somebody he apparently doesn't want to get a hug from, so don't make him. Like, that's where I'm not getting it. The kid don't want to give somebody a hug, don't make him give him a hug. Especially this new guy that you brought in that, is now your husband. You're already pushing so much on these kids. Don't force it. It's to me, it's wrong. Don't force that. So she ends up actually explaining that her son is now on the spectrum. She found out a year ago, and he's like a teenager, a preteen. So, I mean, you already got all those emotions for teenagers and everything, and preteens going on, and then you just throw on all the change and everything, and on top of that, he's on the spectrum. And in my experience with children on the spectrum is it's just that much change is hard, and it is. And a lot of kids on the spectrum also don't like to show affection, or not even just affection. They don't want to be held and touched, especially by somebody that they don't really know. So I hope she figures it out and everything. But then Michael comes back, and he's sitting there talking to her, or I'm sorry, before that happens, Michael comes back and talks to the kids about, saying about their moving, and saying that, this wasn't a place that you were going to always live, and now that, you were just waiting for me to get back, and now that I'm back, we're going to find a place to live. So he gave them a few options for states. One of them was Georgia, Florida, Texas, and Nevada. And Justine wanted to move to Nevada. He said he wanted to move to Texas because he wants to buy a piece of land, and it's cheap, and you can get a big house down there for what they would get in the city up there. I get that. Completely get that. But he's not looking into anything. And that's what Justine said as well, is that he is making all these decisions but not thinking about her or her children. So the kids end up, raising their hand to vote on Nevada, which I thought was funny. I was glad they did it instead of giving him what he wanted. So they end up voting on Nevada, and they said they'll talk about it more. And then Michael goes to sit with Justine, and they end up talking about her son, who's kind of like rude to her and everything, which, being a teenager, being on the spectrum, I mean, this is a common thing. I mean, even being a teenager, without being on the spectrum, they're going to get a little rudeness, you know? And then on top of that, being on the spectrum and everything, it's just a lot. So he's upset about that, and they're both kind of upset, but he said at the end of the show that basically it doesn't matter, you know, I'm trying to say this how kind of form how he said it, that he's not going to sit there and yell at him or whatever, but if his kids disrespected him, they'll feel his wrath. So this is where I think the show is going to go a lot in the storyline, is him sitting there and trying to, I guess, raise her kids and stuff and trying to set his standards, boundaries, and whatever you think he thinks a stepdad should just come in and do. So I mean, on a lot of levels, I think that's wrong because he hasn't been there. He should be the one to slow his roll and understand the family needs instead of his needs, and understand the kids having these issues with things moving so fast and them getting a new dad. So I think a lot of this season is going to end up being just a back and forth between the kids and him as a stepdad, and also progressing with Justine's pregnancy as well, and I guess a little bit of his rap career. But anyways, that's the end of the show. We'll see what happens next week. Hopefully Justine figures out a better medium for the kids and Michael to have a relationship with, because it seems like she's putting Michael ahead of her kids a lot with this. So hopefully it changes. Hopefully it gets better for those kids. Again, like and subscribe. Once I get more subscribers, at least 100, I'm going to start doing giveaways. So please share, get other people to subscribe as well, and comment and everything. Thank you for watching this video, and y'all have a great day.